I'm Christina from Be in the World Yoga, and I'm going to take you through a simple yoga practice. So let's start off by grabbing a nice little blanket, and we can come and sit on the edge of our blanket. So to have our sit bones at the edge of the blanket, the legs are crossed. Take your hands on top of your knees and sit up nice and tall. Soften your hip creases. Take a nice inhale and exhale out through the mouth. Beautiful. Now close your eyes and take 2 more of those breaths. Take an inhale. Beautiful. One more time, inhaling. And start to allow yourself to come into your seat right now, wherever you are. Start to notice the breath at the nostrils. Soften your hip creases, soften your shoulders. And we're going to breathe in and out through the nose throughout the practice. So take a nice inhale through the nose. Let your spine lift up nice and tall. Crown of the head reaches up to the sky. And exhale, let the hip creases relax. Let the shoulders soften. Take your palms together at your heart center. You can create a dedication for your practice today. Maybe you'd like to offer yourself something, or let go of something, or offer something to somebody else. So we'll then start our practice with the sound of Om, taking an inhale. Om. Start to flutter your eyes open. Take an inhale. Arms are going to reach down and up towards the sky. Clasp your hands. Turn the palms out. Inhale. Stretch your hands up towards the sky. And then start to draw the pinkies back behind you. Exhale. Start to let the hands come down. Clasp your hands back behind you. Roll your shoulders back and inhale. Lift up your heart. Take 3 breaths here. Inhaling and exhaling out through the nose. Drawing your shoulder blades closer together. Letting your heart shine through. Exhale, soften the shoulders down. We'll come onto tabletop position, so coming onto hands and knees, and you can keep the blanket underneath your knees if you're on maybe a hardwood floor and you feel a little bit of tenderness happening in the knees there. So have your shoulders over your wrists and the wrist creases lined up with the front of the mat. Fingers spreading away from each other. And take a nice inhale to a nice flat spine. So see how I'm drawing my belly towards the back of the spine, but I'm keeping my spine in a nice tabletop position. Exhale. Take another inhale, letting your back of your neck be nice and long here so you're not looking up. And then on the exhale, you start to round your back up towards the sky, pushing your hands into the ground. Exhale, use your breath to send your heart forward. Tailbone comes up, belly drops. Exhale, rounding the back. Inhale, let your heart come forward. Beautiful. Exhale, round your back. Inhale, peel open your chest here. And then exhale, walk the hands forward, keeping the hips directly over the knees, spreading your fingers and take your head to the ground. Start to take your tailbone down towards the floor to lengthen your spine. Take a nice inhale here. Exhale. Lift your armpits up and keeping your elbows off the ground. Take a few more breaths. Beautiful. And then start to walk your hands back underneath your shoulders. We're going to tuck the toes under and make our way into downward facing dog. So tuck your toes under. Lift your hips up and back. Press your hands into the floor. Spread your fingers. Take a nice inhale. And exhale, knees to the ground. We're going to sit back onto the heels in child's pose. Take your head to the ground. Hands reach back behind you. Take 3 breaths here. Beautiful. Child's pose is a resting pose, so anytime you feel like you need to take a break throughout your practice, you can just come right to child's pose, okay? So taking your arms up over your head, come on to the knees, tuck the toes under, and lift your hips up and back again to downward facing dog. Lifting your hips up and back, spreading through your fingers. Take 3 breaths here. You can pedal up through the feet here if you like, letting one heel come down at a time. Let your belly move towards your back body here. So lifting your belly up towards your spine here. Beautiful. And then we'll start to walk the feet forward to the top of the mat to meet the hands in a nice forward fold. Take an inhale, lift up your heart to a flat back, and exhale, fold over the legs here. You can grab onto the inside of your elbows and rock from left to right. Then soften your knees, roll up the spine vertebrae by vertebrae. Keep the chin tucked into the chest, roll the shoulders back, and let the crown of the head come up last. Beautiful. I'll switch my position here. You're going to take your blanket and place it off to the side, and you can always grab that if you feel like the knee needs a little cushion there. So from here, coming to the top of your mat, have your toes together and your heels together. And if the heels feel like if the ankles feel like they're knocking into each other, you can take your feet a little bit of a distance apart. You can also take your feet hips distance apart, and if that feels more comfortable for you. So from here, starting off in mountain pose, start to draw the kneecaps up towards the hips. Start to draw the thighs up towards up and back. Take a nice inhale. Exhale. Inhale, let the crown of the head reach up towards the sky. Exhale, soften the shoulders. Inhale, arms reach out and up overhead, palms come together. And exhale to a nice long forward fold, standing forward bend. Inhale to a flat back, fingertips to the ground or hands on the shins. And exhale, hands to the floor, bend your knees and step both feet back to plank pose. Take a nice inhale here, lifting up through the low belly and keeping your heart nice and reaching forward. Exhale, knees to the ground, bend the elbows, lower your heart to the floor. Untuck your toes, and you're going to take your hands up underneath your shoulders, peel the heart up off the ground. Beautiful. Exhale, come onto the knees, tuck the toes, and lift the hips up and back for downward facing dog. Take 3 breaths here. Shake out your head if you feel like you need to let go of some tension here. Beautiful. And then start to walk your feet to the top of the mat to meet the hands again in a forward fold. Inhale to a flat back. Exhale, fold again, soften your knees and roll up the spine vertebrae by vertebrae for another little massage. Beautiful. Inhale, arms reach up towards the sky. Exhale, long spine to a forward fold. Hands to the ground. Inhale to a flat back. And exhale, step the right foot all the way back behind you. The left knee is over the left ankle. Inhale, reach your heart forward as you reach through your right heel back. And exhale, right knee down towards the ground. Start to squeeze the thighs together. And inhale, arms reach up towards the sky. Soften your tailbone down towards the floor, allowing the hips to move forward here for a second, pulling the belly towards the back of the spine. And then exhale, soften into your hips. Beautiful. Exhale, hands down to the ground. Step both feet back to plank pose. Inhale, nice long spine. And exhale, knees to the ground, bend the elbows, lowering down. Use your toes to push you forward this time. And then point the toes, inhaling up to cobra. Exhale, curl the toes under, lift the hands, the hips up and back to downward facing dog. Shake out the head here. Take 3 breaths here. The heels may not come to the ground today, but that's okay. Beautiful. Inhale, right leg reaches up to the sky, and exhale, pull the knee into the belly, send the right foot to the top of the mat. Start to squeeze your thighs together. Take the left knee down towards the floor, and inhale, reach the arms up towards the floor, the sky. Beautiful. Exhale, hands to the ground. Step on the weight onto the right foot and step both feet together in a forward fold. Beautiful. This time we're going to come up through a flat back. Inhale, arms reach out and up overhead. Palms come together. Exhale, prayer down the center line. Beautiful. Inhale, arms reach up towards the sky. Exhale, long spine, forward fold. Inhale to a flat back. Exhale, left foot steps all the way back to a lunge. Place the knee down. Squeeze the thighs together and inhale, arms reach up to the sky. Beautiful. Exhale, hands down to the ground. Step back to plank pose. Take a nice inhale here. And if you want, you could start to bend the elbows as you lower all the way down to the floor. You can use your toes here to push you forward and come up to cobra pose. Or you could press the hands into the ground and come all the way on the tops of the feet for upward dog. Take a nice inhale. Beautiful. Exhale, curl your toes under. Downward facing dog. Beautiful. Take it through a few breaths here. You can shake out the head if you like. You can pedal out the feet. You can pivot the heels to the left and then pivot them to the right. Beautiful. Inhale, left leg reaches up to the sky, and exhale, pull your knee into the belly, send the left foot to the top of the mat. Take your right knee down to the floor. Inhale, arms reach up towards the sky. And this is called Anjaneyasana. Take another inhale. Beautiful. Exhale, hands to the floor, step both feet together in a standing forward bend. Inhale to a flat back, and exhale, fold again. Soften your knees. Inhale, arms reach out and up overhead. Palms come together. Exhale, prayer down the center line. Beautiful. So that's what's called a sun salutation, and that one was classical sun A. The one before that was a plank sun salutation. So we're going to get into moving on to another sun salutation, which includes warrior one. Beautiful. So coming to the top of your mat, if you'd like, you can take a drink at any time or take a rest at any time. Come to the top of your mat, again in mountain pose. Remember, feet can be together or feet can be hips distance apart. And when you're ready, take an inhale, turn the palms out, nice long spine. Exhale, feel your feet grounding into the floor. Inhale, arms reach up to the sky. Beautiful. Exhale to a nice long spine. And then forward fold here. Release the head, neck, and shoulders. Inhale to a flat back. And exhale, hands to the ground. Step both feet back to plank pose. Inhale, long spine. Exhale, knees to the ground. Bend the elbows, lower the heart down. Use your toes to push you forward, either to cobra or all the way up to upward dog. Exhale, curl your toes under. Downward facing dog. Take 3 breaths here. Keep lifting your hips up and back. You can even lift your heels up and bend your knees, taking the belly to the top of the thighs, sending your hips up and back, and then exhaling the heels to the ground to send the weight towards the back body. Take 3 breaths here. Beautiful. Take your right leg up to the sky, and then pull the right knee into the belly. Send the right foot all the way to the inside of the right hand. Turn your back heel down to 45 degrees, and then send your weight onto your right foot. You could use your hands on top of your knees to come up, or you can inhale and swing your arms out and up overhead. Take a nice inhale, and exhale. Right knee is over the right ankle. The left edge of the back foot is pressing down towards the floor. And take 3 breaths here for warrior one. Have the hips moving forward. Nice long inhale. exhale, soften the shoulders away from the ears. Inhale, lifting the fingertips up again. Lift up your heart. Beautiful. Exhale. One more inhale here. And exhale, hands to the ground. Step your right foot back to meet your left foot in plank pose. Take an inhale, nice long spine, and exhale, bend the elbows or take the knees down to the ground and then bend the elbows, lower your heart down. If you want, you can come down through a bent elbow here, chaturanga. Exhaling. Use your toes to push you forward, coming into either cobra pose or pressing up into upward dog. And then exhale, curl your toes under, downward facing dog. Shake out your head here. If you want, you can pedal out through the feet for as many times as you want to in downward facing dog, or you could just press back into your downward facing dog. 3 breaths. Beautiful. Feel that spine lengthening. Inhale, left leg reaches up to the sky, and exhale, pull your knee into the belly. Left foot goes right next to the left thumb here. Turn your back heel down to 45 degrees, so your right toes are pointed towards the corner of your right mat here, right at the top. And then press into the front foot, either hands on the knees, or inhaling, arms reach up towards the sky. Take 3 breaths here. Soften your tailbone down towards the floor. And inhale, lift up your heart towards the sky. Feel those nice long breaths. Beautiful. Exhale, take your hands down and around, right to the floor. Step back to plank pose. Inhale, nice long spine here, reaching your heels back. Heart reaching forward, and exhale, either bending the elbows down through chaturanga, or you can come with knees to the ground. Use your toes to push you forward, inhaling up to cobra, or pressing all the way up into upward dog. Feel those thighs reaching up towards the ceiling in upward dog, or the sky. Curl your toes under again, downward facing dog. Shake out your head here if you like. Or just pressing the hips up and back. 3 breaths. Beautiful. And you can look to the top of the mat, walk, or take a nice big step to have your feet meet the hands in a nice forward fold here. 3 breaths. Let yourself hinge at your hips here. And let the head be relaxed, the back of the neck relaxed, the crown of the head guiding down towards the ground. Beautiful. Bend the knees here and inhale. Take your arms out and up to a nice flat back. Palms together overhead. Exhale. Prayer right down your center line. Beautiful. Inhale, arms reach up to the sky. And exhale to a nice long spine, forward fold. Inhale to a flat back. And exhale, hands to the ground, step both feet back to plank pose. Take a nice inhale. Exhale, either knees to the ground or bend the elbows through chaturanga. And use your toes to either push you up to upward dog or come into cobra. Exhale to downward facing dog. 3 breaths here, lifting your hips up and back. Feel your hands pressing the front part of your mat away from you. Beautiful. Send your weight onto your left foot and inhale, right leg reaches up to the sky. Exhale, pull the right knee into the belly and send your right foot to the inside, right next to the right thumb. Turn your back heel down. So pivot your foot to 90 degrees here. You're going to take your right knee over your right ankle. Inhale, your left arm is going to stretch forward. Take yourself all the way up to warrior 2. So you have the knee over the ankle here in warrior 2. The edge of the back foot is pressing into the ground. The front foot and the back foot, the heels, are actually on a parallel line with each other. So they're intersecting here. Or not intersecting because that's parallel. But the heels are in line with each other. Beautiful. Take a nice inhale. Exhale, soften the right knee. Beautiful. Take a nice inhale, lifting your belly so that the hips kind of rock back, the tailbone reaches down, and the spine lifts up. Soften your shoulders away from the ears. Gaze over your right fingers here. Beautiful. Keep moving that right knee over to the right pinky toe. Use some nice, beautiful breaths here. Inhale, reach forward. Turn your right palm up and lift up and back to peaceful warrior. So let that left hand slide down the back of the leg there. And exhale. Right forearm goes to the right thigh. Knee stays over the ankle. Inhale, left arm reaches up and over for side angle pose. So you feel the edge of the back foot, a nice line all the way up through the fingers here. Use your right arm to press into the right thigh here so that you're not hanging out and slouching on the right shoulder. You're using it to press up. Beautiful. Inhale your way back to warrior two and circle your hands down to frame the front foot. Foot come to the ball of the back foot. Step both feet back to plank pose. Take an inhale and then exhale, lower down your way. If you want, you can go through the vinyasa to meet in downward dog, or you can come into child's pose and rest here for a couple. If you're coming through that vinyasa, you're going to go from plank, soften the shoulders, soften the elbows here. Inhale, come up, upward dog or cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. And we'll all come back. We'll both come back into our downward facing dog. Take your time to get there. Beautiful. Inhale, left leg reaches up to the sky. Exhale, pull the knee into the belly and send the left foot to the top of the mat. Turn your back heel down and keep sending that left knee over the left ankle. Inhale your right arm forward and lift all the way up to warrior two. So check out that the back heel and the front heel can intersect each other here. Taking a nice long inhale, gazing over the left fingertips here. Soften your shoulders down. Take an inhale, lift up your spine. Nice long breaths. Really use your breath here. Beautiful. Inhale, reach forward. Turn the left palm up and lift up and back to peaceful warrior. Exhale, left forearm comes to the left thigh. Right arm reaches up and over for side angle pose. Take 3 breaths here. Feel the edge of the right foot engage the floor here. Feel the left knee open up towards the left pinky toe. Beautiful. Inhale your way all the way up again to warrior two and circle your hands down to the floor. Step back to plank pose. Take an inhale and exhale, knees to the ground or straight legs. I'm going to go knees to the ground now. Lower down. Inhaling up to cobra. And exhale, let's take a child's pose here. So you can take your hands and stretch them up over your head at first, lifting up your armpits, and then exhale, take your hands back behind you, softening the back body, allowing the spine to feel a nice release. Start to focus in on your breath. You may notice that you've built up some heat here. Beautiful. And we're gonna take our arms, inhale them up overhead. Come on to the knees. Make your way back into downward facing dog. So keep sending your hips up and back. Beautiful. Exhale the knees down to the floor and sit onto your heels here. So I'm getting a little heated myself. I'm going to take some blocks here. So I'm getting myself ready for our next exciting pose, which is half moon pose, which is a balancing pose. We're coming onto one foot for this pose, and the other hand is going to reach towards the block. So the blocks in yoga sometimes can be an extension of the hands, and they can be also help us get into other poses too. But for the most part, the blocks in yoga are an extension of the hands. So think of that as your helper friend, you know, just you need a little bit more length in your arms, okay? We're going to take our yoga blocks and place them at the front of the mat here. So we probably only need one right now. So I'll just leave the one block there and put the other one aside. We're going to make our way back into downward facing dog. Beautiful. Take a nice inhale. Exhale. Inhale, right leg is going to reach up to the sky, and exhale, pull your right knee into the belly. Send the right foot all the way to the top of the mat and turn your back heel down to Nindi. Now you're going to take your block and place that to the outside of your right shin. From here, you're going to take your hands to your hips and press yourself all the way up, straightening through your front leg. And again, the front heel and the back heel are in line with each other. If you lock your knee like I tend to do, then soften your knee a little bit there. That starts to engage the top of the thigh. It starts to help circulation move through this leg here, so you're not just locking it at the kneecap or the joint there. Beautiful. And then from here, take an inhale, extend the arms out to the side, so hips are facing towards the side of your mat for triangle pose. Take an inhale. Exhale. Inhale, you're going to send that right hip back, reach forward, forward, forward. So you still feel this nice long length in the spine here as you do this. And then exhale, your right hand can come to the shin, or you can take the block as the extension of the hand and take that right behind your right shin here. Beautiful. Inhale, left arm reaches up to the sky. And if the neck tells you that it just needs to be relaxed today, you can just look down towards the floor. If you feel okay with lifting your head up and looking towards the sky, you can do that. And then start to send that left arm up to the sky. Feel your spine lengthening out. Feel your feet pressing into the ground. And you can spread your toes here. Take 3 breaths here in triangle pose. Feel yourself lifting up, even taking some pressure out of the bottom hand. And then you're going to lean back a little bit to open up the left side body. Beautiful. Exhale, bend through the front knee and keep holding on to your right block. Take your left hand to your hip. You're going to hop the back foot in a little bit. And just so that I'm in camera view here, I'm going to take my right foot back here. So then you're going to use this block and you're going to move it with you. We're bending through the right knee, sending the weight onto the right leg. The left leg has hopped in a bit. We have the toe on the ground, take the right hand forward, and then start to stack the hips on top of one another, flexing through the left foot until you're opening up your hips out to the side here. So this is a balance pose. You can keep your left hand on your left hip here. You could stare at the ground or gaze at the ground. Or if you feel like you need more of a challenge, maybe you can look to the side. Start to let the hips stack on top. Start to peel the left hip open. Beautiful. Maybe the left hand wants to reach up towards the sky. Remember, you could always move that bottom block around. Or maybe you want to look up towards the sky here. And take a few breaths here, flexing the back foot. That means toes are starting to point up towards your nose here. One more breath. If you fall out of it, just get right back into it. No biggie. Beautiful. Bend through the right knee and then start to take that left foot back behind you. You can make your way into Warrior 2 this time and circle your hands down to frame the front foot. Step back to plank pose, either go through your vinyasa or take a little mini break in child's pose. You can also make your way straight back to downward facing dog too. And if you're going through your vinyasa, it's plank to cobra or upward dog and downward facing dog. Shaking out the head here. Inhale, left leg reaches up to the sky. Exhale, pull the knee into the belly, send the left foot to the top of the mat. Turn your back heel down to 90, and then grab your block, situate it right behind the shin. You're gonna straighten through the front leg and make your way up. Hands on the hips here. Take a nice inhale, lengthen the arms away from each other. Keep your hips pointing towards the side of your mat. Soften the left knee if you're locking it. Inhale, reach forward. Hand comes to the block. Right arm can maybe reach up to the sky, or it can stay on the right hip here. Beautiful. And you feel this lift in the right hand so that you're not sinking in the left side body. 3 breaths here. Spreading through the toes. And start to send your right side body back behind you a little bit just to open up here. Beautiful. And bring yourself back to center. Take your right hand to your hip. You're gonna hop the back foot in. And I'm gonna do just the opposite. I'm gonna take the left foot back just so you can see me. So you're gonna use your block and situate it wherever you like. So I like to move the back foot in with the block. Bend the left knee, spread the toes, and then start to lift the hips, stacking the hips on top of one another. Start to flex in the right foot and lift up your left side body. Nice long spine. Maybe you're looking at the ground, maybe you're gonna look up to the sky. And right hand can reach up to the sky. Take a few breaths here. And know that any day is different. This may be easy for you one day, more challenging for you another day. Right now, I feel like I'm competing with a little bit of heat. So I'm just noticing that. I'm observing that. Breathing through it, not judging how steady I feel right now. I'm just observing it. Beautiful. Soften through the left knee. Take your foot all the way back behind you for warrior 2. And circle your hands down to the floor. We're going to step all the way back to downward facing dog. Take 3 breaths here. Shake out the head. Give yourself a little smile here because you so deserve it. Beautiful. Exhale. Send the knees down to the floor. You can take a little child's pose here. Take 3 breaths. Beautiful. Start to roll up the spine here. Inhale your arms up towards the sky. And then exhale, clasp your hands behind your back. Roll your shoulders back. Inhale, lift up your heart. Take 3 breaths here. Start to feel your belly move towards the back of your spine. Beautiful. And then soften the shoulders down. From here, we're going to do a nice wide-legged forward fold to help stretch out the hamstring. So we'll do this in a standing position. You can come onto tabletop position. You can also take blocks with you while you're doing this. So I'm going to leave this to the side just to show you what we might want to do. So coming into tabletop position, then downward facing dog. Shake out your head. Beautiful. Walk your feet to meet the hands in a nice forward fold. Inhale to a flat back. Exhale, fold. Beautiful. And then soften your knees, roll up your spine, vertebrae by vertebrae. Pull your shoulders back. I'm going to face the side of your mat now. So facing the side of your mat, take your hands to your hips and take your legs nice and wide here. So you're going to have the feet parallel to each other. Right, the The edges of the feet can be lined up with the edges of the front and back part of the mat here. Take your hands to your hips. Take a nice long inhale. Beautiful. Exhale. We're going to hinge at the hips. Nice long spine. This is where you can take your blocks and place them whatever height feels comfortable for you, right underneath your shoulders. For me, it's going to be the lower height, or I probably won't even use the blocks because my hamstrings are feeling pretty comfortable in this forward fold, so I don't feel that I need to have blocks. If the hamstrings are tight, the knees might start to buckle. So then you can take the blocks underneath the shoulders and then start to lift up your hips a little bit more, maybe higher if the knees are really bending here. Beautiful. And then you can bend the elbows and fold forward here. So take a nice inhale and exhale, hinge at your hips. Let your head, neck, and shoulders release here in this forward fold. Feel the thighs internally rotating. So just going inside between the legs so that your hips or your sit bones feel like they're opening up here. And take a few breaths, soften your shoulders. Feel your head relaxed, your neck muscles relaxed, your shoulders relaxed. And if you feel like you need a little bit more of a challenge here, you can start to walk your hands back behind you and point the fingers towards behind you here. Take a nice inhale, exhale. So this is an inversion here, which means that the hips are over the head. So the head is actually below the heart. So that's what makes an inversion. Relaxing and softening in the head, neck, and shoulders. If it feels comfortable for you, maybe you can grab onto the ankles and then bend the elbows and start to pull yourself between the legs a little bit here. Take a few breaths. Make sure you're listening to your body so that you know that if this feels comfortable enough or if it feels harmful. You want to always take care of your body and listen to your body. Make sure you're sending your weight onto the front part of your feet so that everything's not just sinking into the heels. Take 3 more breaths. Maybe pulling yourself closer underneath the legs here. You'll find in time that the longer you stay in poses and use your breath, the easier it will be for you to soften and go a little bit deeper in the poses. Beautiful. And then start to bend the knees. Take your hands onto your hips. Roll up the spine. So tailbone reaching down. You're going to roll up vertebrae by vertebrae till you come all the way up, heel toe your feet together. Beautiful. Shake out the legs here. You can give yourself a little massage to the back of the legs, meaning just caress your hands to the back of your thighs. So the power of touch is a healing energy in the hands. The hands are connected with the heart, so we're actually feeling love and good positive energy as we touch the backs of the legs here. We're going to come into tree pose, another balancing pose here. So come to mountain pose first. Have your toes come together, or you can again have your your feet hips distance apart. Start to lift your toes up and spread them, pinky toe down all the way to the big toe. This may seem hard at first. The more you practice it, the easier it gets. From here, squeeze your thighs in towards the midline of your body, and you start to feel this nice line of energy happen here. So gaze at a non-moving object. And you're really going to connect with that non-moving object. Start to send the weight into your right leg. And I'm going to mirror you, so I'm going to use my left leg. Sending the weight into your right leg. Take your left knee out to the side. And you can stay here with the heel in a kickstand position. Hands onto the hips to secure your balance. Maybe the foot comes into the shin, and keep focusing on your non-moving object. Use your breath. Maybe you're going to grab your left ankle with your left hand and pull the left foot into the right shin. Notice what happens as you do this. If you feel yourself falling out of it, try to just maintain the balance here. And if you fall out of it, just go right back into it. Hands on the hips, start to root the bottom foot, lengthen the spine up nice and long, and take your palms together at your heart center. Soften your shoulders, stare at your non-moving object here, which is called a dristi pose, a dristi gaze actually, which is a gaze that we do in yoga to focus and to have that meditative feeling. One pointed focus. And then if you'd like, maybe the hands, palms together, are going to reach up to the sky. Keep your shoulders softening down and staying here in this beautiful tree pose. Beautiful. Exhale, soften the hands down. Take your foot to the ground, shake out.